Okay. Good morning to you. It's Maria from the Fox 11 Newsroom here in Los Angeles. And joining us this morning is Vanessa O'Brien, World Explorer, here to talk to us about the Explorers Grand Slam. And quickly, I want to introduce you to Ayub, who's hanging out with us from England. He's in Leicester. We've got Jimmy, who is with us here in Koreatown.
Hey,
We've
Vanessa.
got Kempton, who is in Calgary,
Vanessa.
Canada. Nick is in Dallas. And
Hello.
Stacey is in Wilmington. And Trev is in Yorkshire. He's also in the UK. And I want to say hello to everybody who is watching us on air. Thanks, you guys. Make sure you plus and comment and share the link. And if you have any questions for Vanessa, go ahead and tag me or anyone in the Hangout. Okay, so let's start. The Explorers Grand Slam. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, absolutely. The Explorers Grand Slam is an adventurers challenge. It involves the 7 highest peaks on the 7 continents and the North and South Pole. So if you were to put Explorers Grand Slam in Wikipedia, it'll come up with that definition. So that's sort of the short answer of it. There's the way I like to do it in terms of orders of magnitude is there's about 4,000 people who have summited Everest, about 400 people who have completed the 7 summits, and about 40 people who have done the Explorers Grand Slam. So that's a nice way.
You're in an elite, a very elite club, to say the least. Why?
Yeah, well, that was going to be my question. Yeah.
Why would you want to do something like this? Just, going in your head.
Yeah, so why for me was I was looking for a challenge, and this happened for me around 2010 when the global recession hit. I was living in England. I noticed 2 or 3 of you are in England or outside of England, or sorry, in England. Sorry,
they're in. Last
or Great Britain, however we want to define this. And look, banking there was just as bad as banking in the U.S. It was time to get out, so I had a chance to move over to Hong Kong at that time.
Was your background in was it in banking or was it
was
in
banking.
The finance world?
It was finance, consumer finance, and so I thought, look, I need to step out of this for a couple of years. I figured 3 years, and some economist I made because we're still kind of in it, so you don't want me as an economist. But I thought I needed 3 years of something to do, and I was looking for that challenge. I'm a type A, personality, and as I was looking for what would take about 3 years for me to kind of learn to do, I was chatting with friends and thinking through what would be goal-oriented, something I could measure success by, something that I could apply that would be, kind of hard work to learn, and something around a new skill. And somebody mentioned climbing, and somebody mentioned Everest,
you were there.
And I did it.
Wow. Okay, Trev, do you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, setting a challenge like that. A challenge would be to complete a marathon or something like that. I mean, not to do something that only 40 people in the world have ever. Do you know what I mean? It's like you really aimed high with that, didn't you? Was your background not that kind of thing? You just thought, I'm going to go. I've got 3 years, so I'm going to start from scratch and go straight into this, or were you quite fit anyway?
Well, I was fit, but what I thought was. Look, if I learn mountaineering, it'll take me kind of a year and a half to kind of apply those skills, and then, maybe I'll have a shot at Everest. I really didn't know if I could do Everest at the time, but I thought I'd give it a shot. And at the time, it wasn't about a Grand Slam or the 7 summits. I didn't learn about those till later. It really was just about Everest.
Okay. Nick, did you have a question as well?
Yes, I do. With all these amazing feats of human accomplishment that you've, I got lost. But with all these feats that you've accomplished, what else is on your list? Do you have any other major endeavors that you'd like to tackle?
What do you do after you climb the 7 different peaks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I just finished a new website and a compilation video showing the 7 summits and the North and South Pole. So I just posted that on YouTube. It's called something like Breathe, the Explorer's Grand Slam. So have a look at that, because I'm really proud of it. It's 7 minutes, so it'll take you on a tour of the whole experience. But people have been asking me if I could write something about it. But there are two kinds of books. There's the reference guide and the sort of here's the climb, and I'd like to do something a little bit more than that. So something maybe a little motivational oriented, or something tying it more to maybe the business world, or maybe something more eat, pray, love. I don't know.
Jimmy, did you have a quick question?
Yeah, my question was, with all of these Explorer things that you're doing, do you have sponsorship or backing, or is this personally financed?
Okay, I would love sponsorship, but here's the deal. These are high-risk ventures. Everest on my day had 10 deaths. My experience with sponsors, and there's 3 deaths so far this year on Everest. Sponsors don't like high risk. If they see it, let me put it this way: the funding can be written at a cost center level, but the minute you involve brand, it goes through the board and it goes through management committees, etc. It's just too political and too bureaucratic when you involve brand, unless you're Red Bull.
And that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, unless you're already in the game, the brands don't want anything to do with it, because they see their brand falling down the mountain or falling through the ice.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, you just said there were deaths. I mean, plenty of deaths.
Yeah.
Why would you, I mean, again, I go back to my question of why would you do this, and would you recommend other people doing this?
Well, I don't
challenge.
What I recommend people to do is I recommend people to take on challenges and to go outside their comfort zones. Not necessarily mountaineering, but for me, that was my answer. What I recommend is that people, if they're sitting on something that they've been thinking about, to challenge themselves, to not necessarily be afraid to take that challenge, because what they need is the hard work and discipline, so that they're comfortable, abating those risks with the right skill set.
So what you're saying is to overcome your fear, whatever that is, to do it and overcome it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a difficult environment for everybody, so I think, it's time to be able to sort of step up to the plate and say, right, I'm not going to be complacent in what's been given to me. I'm gonna step up and take charge.
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
You have the Kempton question. Go ahead.
So Vanessa, I mean, kind of follow up on that. There are tourists that are unprepared trying to climb Everest and die. Would the grandstand be another kind of trap for people to try and push? Now it's 7+2 ways to die, and when they are not ready, like, is that kind of a dilemma here?
Can you repeat the genesis of your question? Are you saying
the genesis is like even with Mount Everest, people are hiring guides and thinking that they could do it, and in fact, there's a Canadian lady who thought that she could do it, and then she miscalculated out of proportion, and then unfortunately died. So with that, and now the Grand Slam, which 7 mountains plus the poles. So wouldn't it make it another kind of holy grail for people to try? And if I guess
I know what you're saying. Is it encouraging other people to perhaps miscalculate and then
or push it too far?
Too far, right?
Yeah. So there are a couple things wrong with climbers today that are different than yesterday. So yesterday, the deaths on Everest were because of things like weather. Because we didn't have good weather forecasts. But today we have very good weather forecasts, so we know exactly when people need to climb. The problem today is that everybody has those weather forecasts, so they go exactly at the same time, which leads to those 200 people you see and those bottlenecks up on the Hillary Step. The other problem is that Nepal is still a poor country with $475 per capita GDP, and they get $9 million a year from Everest permits. So Everest climbing is important to a country like Nepal. What happens is you have rogue companies who are taking unskilled climbers, who aren't ready to climb, and you're having people who really want and aren't ready to go up on the mountain, so they don't know enough to turn around, and they get summit fever, as it's called. They don't know their limits, and they're potentially with guide companies who don't know enough to turn them around. The combination of those two is fatal. If you don't have the right person trained well with the wrong company who doesn't know any better, you've got a recipe for disaster. One of those two might fix it, but two of those two together is a disaster.
Well, hopefully your show, and also your website will help educate people that, it's not something to be taken lightly, obviously, and you train rigorously and have taken years out of your life to do this safely. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And Vanessa O'Brien will be watching. It's the Explorers Grand Slam.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, VOB Online.
VOB Online, and as well as your Twitter. It's at VOB Online. Thank you. Will
Thanks,
you
guys.
take a photo with us before you go, okay? Here's the camera right here. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheers. Okay. Thank you.
Good.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay,
Oh.
great. We're coming up in this after Adopt a Pet.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for stopping
Thanks,
by.
Vanessa.
Really appreciated it.
It's fun.
Thank you, Penny. Oh, thank you. It was nice to see you.